So ever since I proposed to my fiance, I've been getting a lot of questions from men asking about engagement and marriage and proposing and how I feel and if I have any advice. So I figure, why not? Keep in mind that these are just things that I've learned. This is just my experience and these are just my opinions. So with that being said, let's get into it. Allow me to start off by saying that every woman is different. And before a lot of you criticize me and say, well, that's an obvious statement, let me explain. Every woman has a different vision on how they want to be proposed to. Every woman has a different vision on what they expect their ring to look like. Every woman has a different vision on how they want their wedding to be. Every woman has a different vision about the decor and how they're going to have their hair and the guests and then the food and the catering and the venue. Every woman is different. So let's start off with rings. Keep in mind that bigger doesn't always mean better. So you can go with something like this, or even this. And of course, there's nothing wrong with those rings, but those tend to be more popular go-tos for men when they really don't know what their woman wants. Because there are also some women out there who want different. And when I say different, here's what I mean. This beauty, this one here, this one, or even this one. What I did as far as rings is concerned is I talked to my fiance to try to get an idea on what her style looked like and what her expectations were on her ring. I wanted to know what kind of metal, so did she prefer silver or gold or yellow gold or rose gold? What kind of stone does she want? Does she want a diamond, an emerald, a ruby, a sapphire? How does she want the stone cut? Does she want a princess cut, an oval cut, a halo cut? How big is she expecting the stone to be in her ring? Is it 1 carat, 2 carats, 3 carats, 4? And I ask a lot of questions because I want to make sure that I am getting a ring that she loves, that she enjoys, and that she wants to wear. And I know that the price tag for a lot of rings feel like it's very expensive. I get it, I understand, but keep in mind that you can make payments and it's okay to make payments. And depending on what your finances look like, you could pay the ring off completely. But if you're not in a position to pay the ring off, don't let that be an excuse as to why you can't propose. Put yourself on a payment plan. It's $25 to $50 a month. You can do it. You got it. Next question is, how are we going to propose? We have to figure out what's important for her when it comes to proposing. So is it important for us to be secluded and it's just her and I'm proposing to her when nobody else is around? Is it important for her to have family around to see that we're getting engaged? Is it important for her to feel special in that moment? And for her to feel special, she wants me to propose in front of everybody, even though they're a bunch of strangers? Or does she want her family to be there in front of a bunch of strangers and I propose to her family and strangers at the same time? Or does she want me to propose just in front of her family in a secluded area when it's just her, and her entire family? Like, what is she looking for as far as a proposal is concerned? Do you, as her boyfriend, feel like she would want to be in like a fancy dress with some makeup on and her hair done? Or do you feel like she'd be okay with being in a business casual or just a casual outfit being proposed to? But no matter what you decide, make sure her nails are done. That's a non-negotiable. No matter how you propose to her, make sure her nails are done. Make sure her nails are done. Even if you got to go with her, make sure them nails are done. Keep in mind, because every woman is different. Some women want a more subtle proposal and some other women are expecting a more extravagant proposal. It just depends on what your woman wants. Now, this is probably something I should have said at the beginning of the video, but every woman who wants to get married has a timeline on when she's expecting to get proposed to and when she's expecting to be married. Even though you two might not have talked about it, I guarantee that her range, as far as her being proposed to, is probably somewhere between 3 to 5 years within a relationship. So once you hit that 3 to 5 year mark in your relationship, she's expecting a ring, whether she said it or if she didn't say it. I am not saying this because I am trying to force you or speed up your timeline as far as when you expect to be married and when you want to be married as her boyfriend and as her man. What I'm simply saying is that she for sure has a timeline on when she expects to be proposed to. That's all I'm saying. And if you are unsure about that timeline, please go ask. Please go ask. And if you feel like that's not a reasonable timeline, or you feel like you're being rushed, or you feel uncomfortable with it, Express how you feel because your voice and your perspective matters as well. You deserve to be validated as well. Keep in mind that the engagement and wedding ring can go on a payment plan. So it's not an excuse not to be engaged, not to be married. Keep in mind that the proposal doesn't have to be super expensive. It's not an excuse not to propose, not to be married. Now, the next step is the actual wedding, is planning a wedding. So that means that who are you going to invite? What kind of food are you going to have? What color scheme and decor are you going to have? Where's the venue going to be? How many people are you expecting to have there? Who's going to be your groomsmen? Who's going to be her bridesmaids? What does the budget look like? Are you going to have a wedding planner? Do you want a photographer/videographer? Or are you two just going to go to the courthouse and get married? It's totally up to you. There's no right or wrong way to do it as long as you and your partner are genuinely comfortable with the way you're doing it. Please keep in mind that weddings can be as expensive as you want them to be, and they can also be as cheap as you want them to be. It's totally up to you and your partner. Also keep in mind that you don't have to get married right after you get engaged. You and your partner can wait a couple years if that's what you two decide to do. It is totally up to you because you both make the rules for your relationship. But do not let the thought of having to pay for a wedding prevent you from wanting to get engaged or wanting to get married. I promise, as long as you and your partner talk through things, and are on the same page about the next move, there's nothing that you two cannot figure out, especially when it comes to the financial situation of paying for these things. On top of that, being on the same page when it comes to the timeline on when you two plan on accomplishing these things in your relationship as far as engagement and marriage. And of course, the entire situation can feel overwhelming because there's a lot of variables that goes into this. If you and your partner genuinely want to get married, just make sure you communicate expectations, communicate wants and needs, and also make sure you're looking out for each other and you both are comfortable with the decisions that you're making. Other than that, I feel like the only thing that's left is for you and your partner to take the steps to progress forward to get to where you want to be, which is married. For those of you who stayed to the end, I appreciate it, and I wish you all the best of luck. And if you have any advice to add on to this, please feel free to do so.